And now, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We don't care if you're climbing the corporate ladder or if you throw a ladder in your truck on the way to work. This show's for you. We're here to help everyone become a more successful consumer in a way. We're saving money, ways to make money. We got the insurance, side hustle, real estate licensing class, free class. Lots of ways we can help you. Keller Williams Realty. And we got a great lineup for you today here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got Logan Briggs in the house, Total Home Roofing. He's going to be in studio guest. We also have Shane Socash, David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin. He's the owner. We talk about alternative investment opportunities in case your dollar seems to be shrinking out there. You're not the only one. And we got in studio attorney Patrick Smith coming up here. What to do if you win the lottery. Patrick Smith's going to talk about that. Before we jump into that, I want to let you know about a couple of hot listings. We got a property at 6361 US Highway 301 South in Riverview, Florida. Beautiful commercial property here. $1.6 million listing of ours. Beautiful property out here in Riverview, Florida, East Hillsborough County. Great business location. Corner lot with 0.81 acre, almost a full acre. You got a billboard on site, commercially zoned, fenced-in property. And you got about 50,000 vehicles a day going by on US 301, close to I-75. Beautiful property. You got some air conditioning office space there, as well as in the back. You get a place for mechanics or park cars, park vehicles, and beautiful property. Commercial listing at $1.6 million. 2803 Safe Harbor Drive in Tampa. This is a $1 million residential listing that we've got in a gated community. Actually, now it's just reduced just south of $1 million, $975,000. Corner lot location. Beautiful pool. Spa package, spiral staircase, elevator, granite countertops, beautiful property right here in beautiful Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, attorney Patrick Smith in the house, and he's also a radio show host, 14 different markets across the state. You got to be reaching thousands of people every Saturday, 8 a.m.
Yeah, Brandon, thanks so much for having us. Actually, since we last spoke, we struck a deal with the Beasley Media Group. So we've added 3 more stations that now carry our signal Saturday morning. So we're actually up to 17 stations that carry us throughout the Central Florida area every Saturday morning.
You own that time slot, brother.
We're doing our best.
You own that time slot. That's awesome, man. 8 a.m., you come in, you do it live, people call in. It's very interactive. I've had the opportunity to come on a couple times, and I love that model. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming on. You're a fantastic guest.
Thank you. All right, so what to do if you win the lottery? I love this topic.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people think about everything they would start buying, but there are some more practical steps.
Right.
And one of the first things was a gift given to us by Governor DeSantis back in May. He signed House Bill 159 that actually grants the winner of a lottery of greater than $250,000 an additional 90 days of anonymity. And not every state does this. The winner of the $1 billion jackpot a couple weeks ago was from Illinois, where they do not have that anonymity rule.
Wow.
So you sort of have to immediately brace for impact. But Florida allowing its residents to have a little more privacy for a 3-month window to make arrangements for the sort of publicity that comes with that sort of influx of wealth. So the number one thing that you typically do is make sure you preserve your anonymity, or at least be aware of the fact that Florida grants you that protection.
Yeah, that's interesting. So a lot of people wouldn't even think that's a thing. So it comes out, names published in the paper. Attorney Patrick Smith just won $1 billion. They're going to come out. They're going to come at you with offers and stuff to your mailbox, maybe knocking on your door. What happens in that scenario?
Well, in those situations, anytime you come into some sort of large sum of wealth, oftentimes it's initially remote family members, cousins you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, a lot of times there's scam artists that are trying to scam money from what they perceive are the ultra wealthy. So there's a lot of protection in maintaining your anonymity until you've had other times to put other protective measures in place.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to set up, this is where you get into your trust, your blind trust, your real estate investment trust, your LLCs. There's a lot of ways to protect assets.
Absolutely. And that's sort of the second do for lottery winners, is the fact that you want to contact your attorney.
Yeah.
And you want to walk through with your attorney exactly the optimal way to receive this sort of wealth. You hear a lot of attorneys talk about sometimes multiple owner trust and scattering the lottery earnings across the income brackets of several family members and doing different maneuvers with selling the lottery ticket at basis or whatever maneuvers may be available to you under the Internal Revenue Code.
That's interesting.
It's your attorney, your financial advisor, your CPA, all the financial professionals in your life sort of working together to optimally prepare to receive this wealth so that it doesn't become a curse instead of a blessing.
Right. And that's a good point for almost everyone to think about, is making sure that when you develop your financial blueprint, you have a comprehensive plan. As you said, the attorney's talking to the CPA's turning around talking to the insurance person in your family, the insurance financial advisors involved. There's a lot of moving parts if you really want to do it right.
Right. There's a reason a lot of major league baseball teams and a lot of professional sports franchises have departments that are dedicated to helping their young athletes just manage their wealth. Right. Because a lot of these have never had any sort of wealth to manage, and it can be a crushing weight. Yeah. So to receive all this sort of at once, it's a dangerous thing for a lot of people. So working with professionals who are accustomed to working with this sort of caliber of wealth and helping you maintain it and preserve it. I don't know what the exact statistics are, but there's a large number of lottery winners that often end up bankrupt within a few months of actually winning the lottery. And I think that's more of a commentary on poor management.
Yeah. We're talking with attorney Patrick Smith here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Multiple offices throughout South and Central Florida here with his law firm. Your primary office, is it the one in the Pinellas?
So Clearwater. We also have offices in Claremont, the Villages, Sun City Center, and our newest office, which we were talking about off air, is the Sarasota location.
Congrats. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking forward to getting into the Sarasota market. I'm going to be teaching some classes down there at the Keller Williams office in Sarasota.
Terrific.
How to win with sellers. Attorney Patrick Smith can help you with estate planning, wills, trust, those asset protection type conversations, the conversations you want to have with your family before you have that tragic life event that happens. Reach out to the show hotline, by the way, 813-917-1894. Call or text any questions you have relating to that, 813-917-1894. And at consumerqb.com, you can see links to all of our show partners. Attorney Patrick Smith information is there as well. What to do if you win the lottery. This is a fun topic. It's fun to think about that, isn't it?
Well, and that's what I did Saturday on my show. When the callers would call in, I said, hey, what would you do if you won $1 billion? So just to turn the interview around on you, Brandon, if you walk into $1 billion in your bank account tomorrow, what's the first thing you do?
Man, I'm gonna be splitting it up like you said. I'm gonna be finding safe places for it. I'm gonna be calling you probably, right?
I was hoping you'd feed me that. That's the right answer. So.
Yeah, call the attorney. Find out what I should do. Because that's the problem that people have. And you look at the football players like Andre Rison or the baseball player Kurt Schilling, and these guys, they have millions of dollars throughout their career. As you mentioned, they got this guy coming up with this scheme about. I think Kurt Schilling invested in some type of a video game type thing, and he lost a lot of his millions. And you have all these folks coming at you with ask and wants. And then you're kind of like, hey, what do I do with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's your buddy down the street wants to open a restaurant, and it's going to be a success. Yeah. Guaranteed. It's a home run for sure. And it's just too often, people feel like they owe people part of the wealth that they won in the honest competition of the lottery. And at the end of the day, a lot of people fall victim to that. Yeah. And sometimes it's okay to say no. And I tell clients all the time, I said, that's fine. You can make me the bad guy and tell them you said no because your attorney said to say no. Right. And that's okay. I can be the bad guy for you.
Well, I think that's a good dynamic to have in almost any situation. Let me check with my wife. You got to do that. Yeah. Let me jump into, we don't like to go heavy politics here, but this is literally, the stuff that's going on today is just unbelievable. It's affecting your kids. I mean, our generation. I want to play a quick clip here on the industries that are hit. This bill that just got signed or just got passed the Senate. This bill, what's in it? People don't really know. It's the Inflation Reduction Act, which is actually going to do the opposite of that. And I just got a quick clip here to play.
Brilliantly duplicitous the climate change agenda is.
Climate change.
Because there is no end goal, right? They will always say, well, we just need another $100 trillion or another $250 trillion. It's never really about the climate. It's actually about control. And so that's one component of it. Can you talk about the tax increases in this bill as well?
one other thing to just amplify that message you just made. I'm pretty old.
But there was a problem with the clip here, the audio. We lost the audio on that clip. But he goes on to talk about the 4 industries hit the hardest: coal, oil, fossil fuels, steel. So basically, the Made in America agenda, what they just passed with this Inflation Reduction Act, it's actually going to be offshoring more jobs to India, offshoring more jobs to China. I mean, it's the opposite of what we need to be doing right now.
Well, I mean, there's an artistry of marketing and labeling going on here, I think.
Yes.
And the question is, does it cross the line into deceiving the American people? And the American people will decide that come this November.
Yep.
And I think it'll be interesting to see what their decision is.
Right, exactly. And then, you had the president's home raided a couple days ago, and, how's that going to play out, right?
Yeah, I mean, you hope that, I'm sure half the country hopes they do find something. I'm sure the other half doesn't. But if they don't find something and it turns out to be a weaponization of the justice system at the federal level, I think that's a terrible commentary on where the country's headed.
Yeah, Banana Republic style stuff going on there. We're talking with attorney Patrick Smith here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And yeah, when you look at these things, what are some of the most the most egregious mistakes that you see people make when it comes to planning, or even estate planning? And you had what was his name, Tony Soprano. He didn't have the plan. A lot of people pass, they don't have the plan, and then probate is written.
Well, I think at the end of the day, for instance, we're here today talking about lottery winners, and I think that sort of feeds into the biggest mistake people make. They think, I don't have enough to really plan. I don't really have an estate large enough that's worth planning. And I think it couldn't be further from the truth. I think it's really a matter of you plan as opposed to react.
Right.
So you never know how you're going to pass. You could always pass in an accident. There could be some sort of settlement.
Yep.
So I think that everyone should at least have a basic will in place, and that's why at my office I've never changed the prices for my wills. They've been $75 since I opened my practice in 2006, and I don't have any plan on changing those prices because I think that everyone deserves to have at least a basic will.
Yeah.
And then for a lot of estates, as you pointed out, that are beyond that critical threshold of $75,000 outside of any exemption for formal probate, then trusts become more optimal documents that will bypass the probate process and save the estate 6 to 14 months, potentially in 3 to 10% in fees sometimes.
Yeah, and if you have kids, I mean,
Absolutely.
if you don't have any heirs, the state decides what happens to your kids.
Yeah, I mean, the state will fill in any gaps through what we call intestacy if you fail to reduce the plan to writing, and that can backfire and produce all kinds of surprises and often catastrophe for families.
Yeah, absolutely. And, then you have the situation where if you have, I've got the advanced medical directive, all these different things, the Terry Schiavo case years and years ago, right?
Well,
half the family said pull the plug, half said don't.
Well, and we actually had Dr. Dan Freeman, who was the parliamentarian for Congress at the time the Terry Schiavo case was making its way through Congress. And a lot of people didn't know that the Schiavo case was making its way through Congress. They thought it was straight judiciary, but there was also an element that was making its way through the United States Congress at that time. So it was sort of this unprecedented case making its way to the highest levels of government, both through the courts and through the legislature. So it was really an interesting time, but 100% avoidable.
Yeah.
With good planning. You can put together advanced directives and living wills that clearly denote what your intent is to remove all doubt and memorialize for your family your wishes.
Right. Yeah, and that's what it all comes about. I mean, it's not an easy conversation to have, hey, Mom, when you pass away, we really need to talk about this. It's a challenging conversation and a dynamic.
Well, and it's one of those conversations that everyone feels a little bit uncomfortable, and I think that's normal.
Yeah.
I think it's a situation where we always do a talk about it on my radio show closer to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because I always say, there's that lull in the Thanksgiving dinner conversation.
Right.
And I said you can, bring it up without being gauche. And
Right.
I think you can bring it up and say, hey, we recently did our estate plan, got everything in place, and, we love each and every one of you at this table. We want to encourage you to get with your attorney and get your plan in place so
Right.
that there's no confusion or inefficiencies that are going to harm the family. And I
Yeah.
think, holidays are a great time to sort of casually bring it up. I don't think you have to go to war over things. But at the end of the day, I think bringing it up around the holidays is a great way to generate some good conversation with the family.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you think about the challenges, around those dynamics oh, well, she told me or he told me I was going to get that watch or that gold piece or whatever it might be. Right.
Oh, and it's always, memories grow hazy.
Yeah.
And I think the more you codify and memorialize to writing, the less likely those disputes are. I mean, there are plenty of disputes that break out when everything is perfectly reduced to writing.
Exactly.
So even more so when it's not. So the more steps you take to protect yourself, and of course those of you in blended family scenarios with stepchildren and step-parents,
Exactly.
there's even more risk of challenges there. And I think that the lesson learned for everyone is to take time to put your plan in writing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, more with attorney Patrick Smith here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We're going to come back. Plus, we got a feel-good story of the day. Got a dog rescue program specialized to help dogs of the elderly, helping the elderly. So, feel-good story coming up. More with attorney Patrick Smith and our other great expert contributors coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you've been listening to the phenomenal Brandon Rhymes, the Consumer Quarterback Show.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. Any of our listeners out there, we'll offer you a 2% listing for the first 3 callers that reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. Call or text the hotline, 813-917-1894. Also, a great opportunity for folks out there looking for a part-time gig, maybe a side hustle, is Keller Williams Real Estate School, powered by Kaplan. Reach out if you'd like more information on how we have a free real estate school for you, online class, get licensed, and start referring business in, or maybe make a new career. 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com for our syndicated radio and TV show on 80 outlets worldwide, consumerqb.com, or our real estate website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. That's platinummvpteam.kw.com. And please follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram, Twitter, Getter, and check out our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. Make it a great day. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Have you desired more income and more freedom in your life? Now is your time. Keller Williams Realty has just launched our own real estate school, and you can get licensed for free. I'm Brandon Rhymes, host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And for the first 3 people who reach out, I will personally coach you. 813-917-1894. Call or text 813-917-1894. ConsumerQB.com. ConsumerQB.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team. Quick shout out to Golf Cart Depot, Discovery Golf Cars here in Tampa Bay. They got the EasyGo Star EV Cushman, new and pre-owned. You can rent or buy. They offer financing and mobile repair. Online at discoverygolfcars.com. Talk to Ethan Luster or Marty as well. Marty's over in the North Tampa location. Ethan is over in Clearwater. discoverygolfcars.com. Let him know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, in studio, attorney Patrick Smith here. Had a fun conversation here about what to do if you win the lottery. Tell me, just in general, like with your show now, I mean, congratulations again for 17 markets now, syndicated at 8 a.m. on Saturday mornings. You can find them right here on 860 The Answer, 1025 The Bone, just depending on what part of the state you're in. What's some of the most interesting phone calls you've had, or interesting characters sometimes, right?
Well, I think one of the most interesting ones is one we still have going.
Yeah.
And it's Patricia from Lakewood Ranch,
okay,
who has a shower installation, and I think she's called in 5 or 6 times now with relative updates as the case is progressing, and we're just staying tuned excitedly, with bated breath, awaiting here the exciting conclusion of this saga. So I think it's those types of callers that call back
Yeah.
And we had a caller that called back this past show that said, hey, this is how everything worked out.
Yep.
And it really gives you a sense that, it's the Attorney Patrick Smith Show family.
Yeah.
That there's this family of listeners out there that tune in every week to hear what's going on with these other listeners. And it's fantastic. And, you get the emails from the people who say, hey, thank you so much for doing the show.
Yeah.
It's a great resource. And that's why we do it.
Yeah.
And we enjoy helping people, and it's fantastic, and it's a great team. The Salem family, the family over at Cox with 102.5 The Bone, and now the Beasley Media Group. Everyone just works so hard to put the show on the air so that we can help people.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. I love that idea. And some interesting callers. We had the one guy that called in that day, and he was talking about spam in his email, and he said, "Look, if I was at the point in my life where that was one of my priorities,
you're pressure washing the driveway." That's what I told him. I said, you're that neighbor that's pressure washing your driveway. I'm jealous of that guy because he's so far down his list of chores
to do. Yeah,
yeah. And if I'm worried about spam email, I'm like, man. My life's pretty darn great if that's what I'm worried about. So, I remember that caller, and that was a fantastic
I couldn't
call.
believe it either. You were so patient with him, too.
You do the show to help people, and, help comes in all different forms.
Right.
And so it's just an exercise in really listening.
Exactly.
That's one of our particular producers at another station says, I noticed their questions seem to go on and on and on, and I wish they would just stop so you could answer the question.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you got to let them sort of get it off their chest. They're calling in to unload this emotional issue they've got. So sometimes you let it go a little longer than you normally would, just to help them out.
Absolutely, and that's a great quality that you have. So,
I appreciate
being able to do that. So when you think about the estate planning business, have there been any changes to the rules or laws recently? Anything that you can think of that people should know about?
There have been some changes about if you're, drafting a document and as a practicing attorney and the client puts you in this administrative role as a trustee or personal representative, there are certain written disclosures you have to do to the client so that they're aware of the sort of fees that go with those administrative functions, which I support this sort of legislation because I think it leads to this spirit of transparency.
Yeah.
So when the kids come in, if they find out the family attorney is the administrator, then they know that mom and dad had that information and there was no hoodwinking or lack of transparency. So that was probably the most recent change of note. The biggest change happened, I think, in October of 2011. That was when our Power of Attorney Act really shifted. And to give you a feel for the shift, ours went from about 4 pages and 31 paragraphs to 14 pages and 106 paragraphs.
Oh, man.
So, and I lectured around the state on that topic for a couple of years and did a 2-part special on the radio show talking about it. So a lot of changes there with the power of attorney. But other than those, it's just a matter of keeping your eye on the Internal Revenue Code.
Yeah.
And always seeing what the current administration is going to do. That's why it's important, like I said at the top of the show, talking about with lottery winners. But even if you're not a lottery winner, I think you need to have that good estate planning attorney, financial advisor, CPA advising you no matter what size your estate, just to make sure you're optimizing your plan for your family so the most real dollars go to your intended beneficiaries as quickly and efficiently as possible.
Yeah, and get ready for the 87,000 new hires of the great IRS coming at you.
Well, and I have mixed emotions about that because as an estate planning attorney, one of the holdups in an estate administration can be settling up with the IRS, and they're 20 plus million documents behind. So if the 87,000 employees are going to help with that backlog, happy to have them.
Right.
If they have ulterior, more nefarious motives, I don't know that they do, but certainly I give them the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully they're there to help clean up the backlog.
Yeah. I kind of think they're not. But anyways, Attorney Patrick Smith, what's the best website and social for you?
So attorneypatricksmith.com is the website. Check it out. You can listen to old radio show archives on demand, or you can give us a call at the office, 877-754-6764.
All right. Always a pleasure.
Brandon,
thank you so much. Good stuff, man. Appreciate you coming in. What to do if you win the lottery. Now you know. And you got to go out and play to win, right? So, all right. Taking a quick break. When we come back on the second half of the show here, we got Logan Briggs, Total Home Roofing, Shane Socash coming up, David Reynolds Jewelry. He's the owner of David's Reynolds Jewelry. We'll be right back after a short break. Don't go anywhere.
Thanks for listening to My Daddy's Show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show. We like to feature our real estate listings live on air to help our sellers profit more, sell faster. We got a hot property here at 507 South Prospect Avenue in Clearwater. This is a beautiful property, and it's close to downtown Clearwater. South Prospect Avenue runs right off of Gulf to Bay. 507 South Prospect Avenue in Clearwater. Commercial building, 2-story. Got 12 rooms, 2 bathrooms, office space, rental opportunity. It's near downtown, right off of Gulf to Bay. New roof, HVACs, 10 minutes from downtown Clearwater. Beautiful property, 507 South Prospect Avenue, one of our commercial listings, compliments of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
All right, we're going to phone lines here. We got Shane Socash. He's the owner of David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin right here in beautiful Pinellas County. Welcome to the program, sir.
Hey, Brandon. How are you?
Excellent. Doing great. And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good to hear, man. So tell us a little bit of what's happening, what's new in your world.
So, bullion still strong. Lots of services, appraisals, repairs, custom work. All of that is fairly strong, a little slower in the summer, but generally doing okay.
Yeah, and you got this. So people look at, they look at these precious metals. Call them precious metals: gold, silver, platinum is ways to store value. People, you see these commercials too. As a consumer advocate here on the show, I like to have people, kind of prepare and think about these different situations, but because you see these commercials where they're selling gold online or on TV. And if you buy that gold, I've heard different stories from people saying, well, I got a certificate in the mail, or, do you actually get the gold delivered to you? What's your advice around that?
So there are reputable online dealers. I don't, it's funny that you bring that up. Just this morning we had a gentleman come in who started off buying bullion from one of the online retailers, and they kind of diverted him to their collector coin department, quote unquote. And, he comes in and he has, numismatic, what we call numismatic, which is collectible, Morgan and Peace dollars. Mm-hmm. And he wants to know what we would offer, and these are things he purchased online. And he was, I could tell in his eyes, he thought what he had was enormous, and it was a lot, in terms of, we ended up offering for the batch about $80,000. Mm-hmm. But he believed it to be worth, approaching $500,000.
Wow.
And so I have no idea what he paid for it, but I could tell he had grave disappointment, when I spoke to him. There are online vendors that do take advantage of old folks,
right.
and people who are not uneducated, but not savvy, consumers. And it's even we've got competitors in town, and my competitors don't do that. The brick and mortar store. I would love for you to use our company, and I would say we're more competitive than everyone. But the one thing, it seems pretty consistent in our town, the brick and mortar places won't rip you off like that.
Yeah, it reminds me of going into a listing appointment to list someone's home and the expectations they have, especially 6 months ago, 8 months ago, the market's booming along, the expectations are through the roof, everywhere they're seeing, oh, we'll buy your house, getting these calls, these investor gimmicks. And, and look what happened with Open Door last week. I don't know if you follow that, but Open Door.
No, geez, you're gonna keep me in the loop again.
Yeah, here we go. So Open Door got hit with the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, went after them for basically deceptive practices. And I had been saying it all along. I'm like, look, when you get to the closing table, that's not going to be the terms. That's not going to be, in most cases, because, we look at the comps, the comparables.
Sure, of course.
We see what it should be worth, what it would value at. Maybe we'll give you a 5-10%, on, leeway on the top end of that. But yeah, I can see that happening in your industry too, man. You got sometimes these online places, there's less of a especially if it's not in the neighborhood, as you said. You're right here in Pinellas County, Tampa Bay. We're talking with Shane Socash, David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin, right here, longtime friend of the program, and gold, bullion, precious metals, appraisals, repaired jewelry, buy, sell, trade. You got to work with a local company. I think that's the key there, Shane.
Yeah, definitely. It's I'm sure some there are towns out there, but as far as it just seems safer to check with one or two brick and mortar types of places that are firmly rooted in your community to avoid that type of thing. We see it all the time. We buy estates, big estates, and we see the receipts of what people have paid for this stuff, and it's like they could have bought it from me or one of my competitors for a fraction of what they paid online, or it used to be through the newspaper.
Yeah, it used to be through the newspaper. That's right. Yeah, and you hate to tell somebody, hey, man, seems like you might have overpaid. You might have got ripped off, because you don't want to be the one delivering that bad news.
Yeah, unfortunately, we get to deliver that bad news quite a bit.
Yeah.
But, based on our reviews, apparently we do a good job of it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen those. A lot of 5-star, 5-diamond reviews there. So let's look at, the jewelry side. Let's talk about jewelry for a moment. Now, you can walk in, you can try to purchase jewelry from, somewhere in the mall or whatever it might be, right? But you're not going to get that service. You're not going to get that expertise in most cases. And you've got the certified gemologist on staff.
Yeah, 3 graduate gemologists from the Gemological Institute of America. We have several employees with the lesser accreditations. We have 2 registered master valuers from USF. We know our industry. We have, our bench jewelers are second to none. It's my background, so you don't get to work here. We have 6 full-time jewelers. You don't get to work here unless you're good. And we crank out some phenomenal jewelry here.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go to story time with Shane here now. So story time with Shane. All right, so you know where I'm going. You have some interesting stories. You got people walking in, they're coming in with this box that they dug up in their backyard, or give me something good here. Last time you had some pretty funny stuff.
Yeah, so, I've told you, I have on your show, I've pretty much covered the good ones. I'll say this one, I haven't said it in a while. I do try to keep an eye out if something new pops up, but there hasn't been anything new lately. It was a lady called us and asked how much silver quarters were. Uh-huh. And I think they were about $7 each at the time. And I could hear her voice say, each? For each one? and yeah. I said, yes. So she shows up an hour and a half later, and she has rolls and rolls and rolls of them. The bank had given them to her. Nice. She has a coin-operated car wash. Yep. And she went there to get quarters to put in her machines at the car wash. And the bank gave her, someone probably had exchanged quarters or, not knowing there were silver quarters in there. And she came in, and it was thousands of dollars worth of quarters we bought from her. And, she was just ecstatic.
That's awesome, man. I love that. That's pretty cool. And then the other one was pretty classic, too. Someone in the family had passed away, the grandfather, the father. Yep. And then they come in with the buried, they had a coffee can?
Yeah, so it was much more than that. It was many coffee cans and, rust-stained silver dimes and quarters, and then it got into actual tubes, 20 Krugerrands, where it's, at around $2,000 each or whatever it is, times 20. Wow. It ended up being hundreds of thousands of dollars that the gentleman, dug up in his backyard, over off of Park Street after Dad passed away. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting, man. We're talking about Shane Socash here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Now, he's the owner of David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin right here on Central Avenue in St. Petersburg, beautiful Pinellas County, Florida. And he's a local expert contributor on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we talk about, of course, where inflation is and your dollar's worth less. People are looking to... sometimes we're a little bit hesitant saying investing in some of the things that you offer there, but bullion, these things hold value. They hold value better over time, Shane, than that dollar that's just sitting in cash in the bank account.
That is true. I like, the sweet spot I like is the, couple or the individual that comes in with, a sizable net worth, and they want a percentage of it in precious metal that's like physical precious metal that they keep in a safe or, somewhere at their home or in a safe deposit box, just as one other, diversified means of storing wealth.
Right. Exactly. Just diversify it and be safe. Have it, and you've seen a lot of people lose a lot of money in crypto lately too. So that's a whole nother area there to be cognizant of, be careful of. And some of the greats, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, they always said, invest in things that you fully understand. And I still, to this point, don't fully understand crypto.
I don't.
So that's why I don't own it.
I don't have it either. I think I followed one of your guests, a young man who was incredible with it. Like, he seemed to understand it inside out and backwards.
Jackson.
And it's like, it's just not my thing. But.
Not your cup, yeah. All right, cool, man. Well, Shane, thanks so much. How do you want folks to connect with you?
Yeah, stop down, corner of Central Avenue and 40th Street in St. Pete. Been here since 1981, and they can always give us a call, 727-327-2646.
Online at davidreynoldsjewelryandcoin.com.
Yep, that's another good way to get in touch with us.
Excellent. All right, my friend, always a pleasure spending some time with you, Shane. Socash, appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Brandon.
Take care. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got Logan Briggs in the house, Total Home Roofing, and we're going to dive deep into that. Contractor tips, things to do, things to avoid, what to look out for. Also, got a hero dog, helps seniors. Find out about this hero dog that helps seniors and this whole organization centered around that. Right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Warwick Dunn, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, in studio with Martin Gramatica, that is, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl winner. Lifeguard Imaging, lifeguardimaging.com, saving lives through early detection.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. Yes, that's what we're doing at Lifeguard Imaging. You come in asymptomatic, and that's what we do. You're being proactive. You're coming in. We do a scan from the neck to the pelvis. It's a full body scan. It's a 3D image of every organ, and that's where 90% of the deadliest cancers are, in our mid region. So we can see everything. But for your listeners, we have a real good special. We have a $599 value, absolutely complimentary. They can come in for a coronary artery scan, which will give you their calcium score, awesome. 100% complimentary for your people.
Very cool. Hey, take them up on that offer, 813-917-1894. Call or text, complimentary scan, 813-917-1894, and check them out online, lifeguardimaging.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. And every day we like to tell you something good.
Tell me something good.
All right, so here's a feel-good story of the day for you. You got a dog rescue program specialized to help out the dogs of the elderly. Has allowed hundreds of dogs to stay with their owners who could no longer physically take care of them. The program also takes in and finds homes for dogs who have to be put up for adoption. And in the case of an elderly person has to enter a care or home or hospice. This often heartbreaking is done by Peace of Mind Dog Rescue, and so far has helped find permanent homes for families for 3,000 dogs, each with their own little stories of lifelong alongside of a senior citizen. The Heart Child brainchild of this dog rescue worker, Carrie Broniker. Peace of Mind was started when a woman was impaired movement, had needed Broker to walk her dog, Savannah, but eventually was forced to part with the canine entirely. So she goes on to say how she created this organization, and now they're helping out. I mean, that's amazing, up to over 3,000 dogs now that they've helped. So pretty cool, feel-good story. Dog rescue program for the elderly. So check them out, Peace of Mind Dog Rescue. And we are welcoming in Logan Briggs. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, Brandon, how you doing?
Excellent, man. Excellent.
Good.
Total Home Roofing.
Sir.
And back in the house.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're in the heat of our season right now, and no pun intended. It is hot out there. But the guys we're keeping our crews busy. We're building a lot of roofs. We built about 75 last week in Tampa. We could continue to build more and more every week.
Nice.
Phenomenal market.
What are you doing? Mostly like 90% shingles out there?
Yeah, we try to stick with the shingles. You also see a lot of homeowners go from tile to shingle just because the markup on tile is just extraordinarily high. It's about almost triple that of shingle, but then also just getting tile.
That's what I see, because I have actually a neighbor that has, the tile, and it seems like it's been kind of temporary tarp for months.
Yeah, you're looking at some, depending on the tile. I mean, some, manufacturers have it laying around, but it's very rare that they have your exact style that you want. But you're looking at probably, it depends, maybe 15 weeks at the minimum, 26 weeks at the max is what we're seeing for some of the flat tiles.
Are they made in America?
Yeah.
They are.
They're made up in, what is that? Is that Ocala?
Michigan.
Just right up there. Right
so
up there.
just right up in
off
Ocala.
75. Yeah. I don't think it might not be Ocala exactly, but yeah, it's not far from
south
there.
of Gainesville, north of that area.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
because I kind of worry about this bill that was just passed. Because it talked a lot about some of the podcasts I've been listening to is like offshoring steel. I just wonder, like, what are we going to have left that we produce in America if we keep offshoring everything?
That's a scary question to ask. The answer is probably even scarier.
Right.
It's good to know that our manufacturers are actually based in Florida.
That's awesome. Man.
Yeah, so we've got plants that we pull from in Jacksonville and also right here in Tampa.
That's great. So you're doing some pretty good volume out there. And so Total Home Roofing right here, not only in Tampa Bay, but you're across the state, right?
Yeah, that's right. We cover the whole state of Florida. We're not necessarily into the Panhandle, but all the major cities where West Palm Beach, Orlando, Jacksonville, Brevard, Tampa, Sarasota, and Naples.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
And so you are a regional manager for the company?
Yeah, I'm the senior director of sales. So I'm in charge of the West Coast, the Best Coast. So
nice.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun working over here, and the market alone has just been really good to us. There's a lot of folks that really need our services, and we were able to keep really relatively quick turnaround times on shingle. We're probably looking about 2 weeks out, after you get through the permitting and all the bureaucracies, the municipalities you got to deal with.
Yep.
But they've been getting good and they've been getting better, that people are going back into the offices to work now. But for the most part, it's nonstop this time of year.
Now, what are some consumer tips? What do you think consumers need to know that they may not know, or maybe senior citizens might struggle with, or maybe that younger couple? What are some of the top tips that you see?
Yeah, so I mean, it depends on the situation, right? Some homes, what we're seeing probably, I would say, imagine maybe 50% of the estimates that we give out are homeowners being forced into the market by the insurance carrier. It's not necessarily like they need a new roof tomorrow, but the insurance carrier, I believe by law, has to give you about 120 to 180 days of notice of when they're not going to renew you.
Wow.
So we get a lot of homeowners that are kind of preparing, getting in the stages of budgeting, but also are just ready to pull the trigger to get a roof because otherwise, maybe at the end of the month they're not going to have insurance. So, homeowners that are in those situations, don't wait to the last minute.
Right.
Get those estimates. Typically, with any roofer, the estimate should be free. We do free estimates that are same day, so we'll come out, we'll see you. Maybe it takes about 30 minutes to an hour, and we're giving you an estimate going over that and exactly what to expect when getting a roofing estimate. In the state of Florida, there are a lot of codes that we have to follow, which are good for homeowners, in my opinion.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you have a contract that understands those codes, and at the end of the project, they're going to do a wind mitigation inspection report, right?
Yeah.
So wind mitigation inspection report is actually done by a licensed home inspector. They're going to come out behind us after we finish your project and make sure that we did everything up to code. But most importantly, they're going to create a wind mitigation inspection report, and they're going to take that report and turn it into your insurance. And then that way you can get either your current carrier to provide a new policy for you,
Yeah.
or you can shop it out and get the most competitive.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it. By the way, we're talking with Logan Briggs, Total Home Roofing, here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. And we were talking with Doug Levi in yesterday's show, Strategic Insurance, and he talked about Weston Insurance just going out of business. And we kind of joked, boom, 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 another one bites the dust. So that's been a trend, though, over the last 6 to 8 weeks. These insurance companies going out of business, and then a lot of it is related to the roofing situation and that relationship. And then you got attorneys that are forcing, litigation, and now that's causing a rise in the cost. But the Florida legislature stepped in. Ron DeSantis, Chris Sprouse, they stepped in and kind of took that to a point where they basically what you have now is you got what's the big insurer that's covering everything now? Citizens, yeah. So they got these cut-through endorsements now. Yeah. So a lot of that's kind of in the rearview mirror, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, we hope so. But I mean, like you just said, like I get calls every week from homeowners that, their insurance providers leaving the state. They might not be going out of business, but they're done writing policies. Right. And they're not renewing anyone. Doesn't matter if you get a new roof or not, they are done. So that happens a lot. But by no means am I a policy professional. I'm a roofing professional. Right. But we see it nonstop, and I don't expect it to stop. I wouldn't.
Yeah, and we had a storm come through probably 90 days, 120 days ago, and then I can tell you firsthand, Logan and his team stepped it up, came out and replaced just probably, 15, 20 shingles, something like that. Yeah. And it just so happened to blow off my roof on, what do you call it, like the ridge, right?
Yeah, so on the hip. We call that the hip.
The hip.
Yep. It's a little bit more of a susceptible area for wind. I mean, you're located pretty close to the coast, so those winds come off there strong off the Gulf, and sometimes they'll remove some shingles. Yeah. And look, at a situation like that, you might run into a lot of roofers that are going to say, "Oh no, go call your insurance. We're going to get your insurance to pay for this." Right. In that situation, was that the right move? Probably not. So It was a quick repair by us. We were there the next day, and we wrapped up your project, and your home's protected.
Yeah, exactly. So Total Home Roofing is our expert contributor and preferred partner in this space. So, if you're listening to this program, you probably have like and similar values that a lot of us do. And, it's now more important now than ever to support like-minded companies, support like-minded shows. And, when you think about that, reach out. We'd love to have you, reach out to the hotline, 813-917-1894. You can call or text that line, 813-917-1894, consumerqb.com. And Logan, let's say we get a call or text, they want to come out, they want to get a estimate. You come out and do a free estimate and just kind of give them a look over?
Yes, sir. Yeah, our estimates take anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour long. We're not going to hold you up all day. I mean, this is a no obligation estimate. They're always free. They always should be free. Yeah. And along with that, none of our guys, we're not the pushy sales guys, right? I mean, we're not going to look for the husband and wife only to be there. We don't care. We're there to help folks, get them taken care of, because it is a large expense, and they need to feel comfortable with the contractor they hire, and we make sure they are.
Now, what about deposits? Sometimes companies come in looking for these large deposits, and you might not see them again if they're not a reputable team.
Yeah, you see that a lot in the industry, and we're being 50, 75%. I mean, we've got contractors that won't even start until you pay them in full. Wow. You should never get yourself in a situation like that in roofing. Now, I can't speak for the other trades, but in the roofing, I can. And I can confidently tell you we'll never ask you for a penny down, not until the project's completed. There's too many inspections. There's too many things in the working to get your roof completed. And it's about a 2 to 3 day project, right? So we're not at your home for 6 to 8 weeks like some other contractors. Like, I'm getting a pool. Right, that's a long, stressful process. Yep. So yeah, I do expect to make payments, but in roofing, absolutely, should be no money down. You don't pay that contractor till they'll complete it with that job, and you see final inspections.
Yeah, that's awesome, Logan. So Logan Briggs, Total Home Roofing. Where's your social? What website? How do you want folks to contact?
Yeah, throofing.com is the best way to get a hold of us. You can go on there. You can schedule estimates right from the website, but feel free to call me on my cell phone, 813-599-0428.
Cool. All right, good stuff. Logan Briggs, Total Home Roofing, show contributor expert right here in Tampa Bay and across the state of Florida. And we highly recommend and hope that you can support our show partners. Greatly appreciate that. We had attorney Patrick Smith on the program earlier, Shane Socash, David Reynolds Jewelry and Coin, of course, Logan here in studio, throofing.com. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Call Brandon Rhymes at 813-917-1894. That's 813-917-1894. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show.